Hey everyone, SandfilL here, and welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to build a $450 gaming PC that can play almost every single game in 1080p. We'll benchmark it to see the true capabilities as well. I'm also going to be flipping and listing this PC on Mercari to try to get a nice juicy profit. I'm also going to start doing PC building live streams on YouTube, and I'll probably start doing it on Twitch pretty soon here. But without further ado, let's get into this parts list. For the CPU, I just decided to go with the Ryzen 5 3600. I picked this up for $60 off of AliExpress. The CPU has also been the meta choice for a while now. Now, if you don't want to go with the Ryzen 5 3600 and want to go with the other options, I'll mention some alternatives. You could go with the Ryzen 7 2700X, the Intel i5 10400F, the i3 12100F, and the best out of all of them, you could go with a Ryzen 5 5500. The 2700X can be picked up for $60 on AliExpress, just like the 3600. It runs a little bit slower than a 3600, but it has 2 extra cores, which might be good for you if you're an editor. The i5 10400F can be had for about $80. Now, the value is only there if you buy one used off of somewhere like eBay or Mercari. It performs really well though. The i3 12100F and the Ryzen 5 5500 perform a bit better than the 3600. They also cost around $80 to $90, but the 5500 and the 12100F have roughly the same performance. They're also the same price, so it's really up to you what you're getting. The 12100F though only has 4 cores, and the Ryzen 5 5500 has 6. So if you're an editor, you might want to pick the Ryzen 5 5500. Plugging into the Ryzen 5 3600, we have the Gigabyte B450M DS3H. This is the Wi-Fi version that I scooped up for $80 on Micro Center. For PC flipping, you honestly could go with a cheaper board that has less features, but for a personal build, this is basically as good as it gets. I was actually going to go with a different motherboard, but I actually got scammed by Amazon, but we'll talk about that later. For alternatives to this motherboard, you could go with the ASRock B450M AC Arc 2.0. It also comes with Wi-Fi and is just as good as this board, if not better. For the RAM kit, I went with the TimeTac Pinnacle Conduit 2x8GB. I of course had to go in all white to match the aesthetics of this build, and I scooped this up for $30 off of Amazon. For the SSD, I went with the Team Group MP33. I scooped this up for $60 on Amazon. Now, this SSD has a lot of alternatives that I'll link down below, but my personal favorite alternative right now is the Patriot P310. Both the Team Group and Patriot drives are both 1TB and M.2, so they're going to be really fast and helpful for these flips. For the power supply, I'm going with the Apevia Prestige. I scooped this up for $50 on Amazon. It's also Tier C and has 600 watts. Now, I actually got scammed by Amazon again on this power supply, so yeah. There's also an alternative. The MSI Mag B550N has been going on some pretty good deals lately, so if you don't like this one, you can pick that one up too. For the last component of this $450 PC build, we have the graphics card, which is the GTX 1080 from EVGA. This is a very old graphics card, but you can't deny the fact that it can still play almost every single game in 1080p. These are basically like roughly the same as an RTX 3060 8GB. Now, there are a bunch of other alternatives, but the most major one I would say would be AMD's RX 5700 XT. The RX 5700 XT is about $120 on eBay and Mercari and performs better than an RTX 3060. Now, I scooped this graphics card up for $125, and I would say that's a pretty good deal. Now, for like a personal builder and everything, I think that you should just get an RX 5700 XT, no question about it. But for flips, I'm specifically trying to get the higher profit margin, which is why I decided to go with an NVIDIA GPU, because I know most people are going to want an NVIDIA GPU over AMD. I actually lied about the 1080 being the last part. The last part is the case, which is the Sama ARGB Q5-W. This is a super clean, all-white ARGB micro ATX case. It's also been really popular in the flipping community, so I thought I would give it a try. This case comes with 3 fans and it is really aesthetic, especially for PC flipping, which is why I'm using it in this flip. But yeah, everything costed me around $466. If you're copying it at home or even flipping this computer, it's probably going to be closer to $500, which still isn't bad for the quality of parts that you're getting. Before I show you how this PC performs, I actually want to talk about a few issues I had trying to put together this build. Let's start off with my power supply. My power supply I ordered was a PVA Prestige, and it just came without like a fan protector. It was also dusty as hell, so I really couldn't use it in the build. Now, I was planning to use a different motherboard. I was planning to use some sort of B550 board from Asus. I also ordered it off of Amazon, and when I builded the PC with the right power supply, it just did not work. I tested every part to see what the issue was, and at the end of the day, it just ended up being the motherboard. I ended up using that Gigabyte board, which is still a pretty good board at the end of the day. But yeah, those were just the issues I had. Let's just hop into the benchmark section. This is honestly going to be really quick, but yeah. I only really tested 2 games, but the first one we have is Fortnite at 1080p in pro settings, and we averaged a frame rate of 170 FPS. I'm kind of surprised it didn't get higher, but hey, that's still a pretty good number. The second and last game that we have here is Valorant, which I actually started playing a lot of. And at 1080p pro settings, we averaged 256 FPS, which is a higher number than normal. I was actually really surprised on how well Valorant performed. Now for these flips, I initially listed it on Mercari. But after weeks of waiting and a minimal seek in the PC for other people, I decided that I was going to list it on eBay and Java. And literally the day after I listed it on eBay and Java, it sold on Java. Now, I ended up listing it for about $660, which I will admit is a little high and probably not what the PC should have sold as. But hey, I got that profit. I'm thankful. Since we're on Java, though, selling it for $660, I lost about $80 from the platform fee, but it's fine because in the end of the day, I got $580, which is a really, really good profit. That means that in total, I earned about $114 of profit, which is actually pretty good. Now, some tips that I have for selling on these platforms is just be patient and make sure that if you're selling something, make sure that you can at least get a $100 profit. And yeah, that's all I have to say for this video. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.